Hello, everybody. I'm Viggy Parhampton, and welcome to Tag Team Tales of Terror, where another horror author and I work together to create something short and diabolical. Today, I've tagged Haley Newlin. Haley is the author of the novels Take Your Turn, Teddy, and Not Another Sarah Halls, as well as many acclaimed short stories. She's also a book reviewer for Cemetery Dance magazine, and she is hard at work on her upcoming release, The Film You Are About to See. Welcome, Haley.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too. Now, I know I showed you an example of this, so like how are you feeling? You nervous? You excited?
Um, Probably a good combination of the two, which is how I approach every writing, endeavor. So,
Perfect. That's where you want to be. Well, let's get into the rules. So, Tag Team Tales of Terror is a progressive story. We'll alternate telling bits of the story until we reach some sort of satisfying conclusion. And we'll each get 30 seconds before we switch. So, I'll have a timer up here. Just keep your eye on it. And then we'll switch when we get to 30-second increments. And I have a prompt that I will draw out of this lovely hat. And then, as my guest, you get to start us off, which I'm sorry might be the harder job.
all
And then
right,
if you want like a pen and paper to jot things down, that could be helpful or maybe not. If you just want to be a pantser about this, that's cool too.
just do it. Yeah.
And then after putting you through all of that, I have a little surprise for you.
All right, I'm excited.
Okay, any questions before we get started?
So we don't like collaborate like back and forth, like the 30 seconds is like strictly mine. Like, okay, all
Like
right,
you stop talking, I start talking, I stop talking, you start talking.
all right, let's do it.
Okay, usually these go for about 10 minutes, but sometimes they're shorter, sometimes they're longer. We'll just see what the story demands.
Perfect.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I made these up, but I don't remember what's in here, so hopefully we get a good one.
Awesome.
Okay. Zombies who aren't fast.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Okay,
Okay,
if you want to like think about it for a second, that's fine, and just tell me when you're ready, and I will start the timer.
okay. Zombies who aren't fast. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Do it. Here we go.
Okay. The year is 1965, and humanity has been attacked by a virus. Now, there are walkers around the world who are infected. They aren't fast, so they're not super threatening immediately. However, if you find yourself in a cluster of them, that can be pretty bad. So, our main character is basically trying to establish a life with the current virus.
His name is Ben, and Ben was walking home from work one day when all of a sudden somebody started walking towards him, and he thought, "Oh, it's my neighbor Karen. This is going to be totally fine. We're chill." And then Karen started shuffling, and he thought, "Oh no, is something wrong?" And he went to go assist her, only to find that blood was dripping from her mouth, and she had something really nasty stuck between her teeth. He leaned in to try and help her, but then she just
She just went after him. She lunged in forward and tried to bite at his neck. He fought her with all he could, but was surprised that somebody who was so disoriented could be so strong. So he was pushing as hard as he could. He ends up getting her to the ground, and she's waving her arms around, still trying to get after him, crawling towards him. Goes down the end of the street, and he finds a cluster of them.
And he thinks, oh no, I mean, I started my workday totally normally, and now what is going on here? And all at once, the entire cluster of people turn and stare at him, and he thinks, oh no, I need to get out of here right away. I need to go check on my family at home, and I need to make sure that everybody's okay, because if this is happening here, what's happening in my neighborhood? So he starts running, and at first he's terrified they're going to catch him, but they're just kind of shambling along behind him, and he has to decide, do I lead them straight to my house?
So he decides that he's going to take a secret route, and he dives over fences, and before he knows it, he reaches his own house. However, when he opens the door, he finds that his wife is acting a little bit fuzzy. He asks her how she's doing, and she kind of nods, but all she's really doing is moaning and kind of groaning. And her daughter, or his daughter, is in the corner, afraid of their mother, says she's been talking strangely.
So Ben goes towards his wife and he says, Sheila, Sheila, are you okay? And all she does is keep moaning and groaning. And he looks over to his daughter and he says, "Sweetie, why don't you come over here?" She says, "I am not going over there. Mom has been acting so weird and I'm so scared." And so he leans closer to his wife to try and comfort her, and she leans in and he thinks he's gonna, whisper something into his ear. But instead, she starts to take a big old bite of his earlobe.
Awesome. So her daughter screams and she rushes through the house, leaving her father behind. He doesn't call for her, but with one hand, he's rushing for her to go. So she goes and she leaves the house. She steps out the front door and finds that the cluster of people who we had at the beginning of the story have now found her at her house. Now, again, they aren't very fast, but she's so young and disoriented. She immediately starts screaming for anyone, her neighbors, or any live being that isn't under the virus to help her.
But unfortunately, when she screams, that only brings more attention to her. And of course, she's terrified. Both of her parents, she doesn't know if she's ever going to see them again, but she is mature enough to grasp the situation. So she decides she is going to make a beeline for her best friend Sarah's house and see if maybe she can find some shelter there because something horrible is going on and all she knows for sure is that she wants to live. She wants to survive whatever is happening here.
So she gets to the house and she's banging on every window and she sees that they are boarded up. She can't see in through the living room that she's come to know very well from having sleepovers with her friend Sarah. And she's crying for her friend, begging Sarah to help her. And she even shouts, "I want to live, I want to live." And that is when Sarah, against her father's instructions, opens the door to let her in. And when she does that, a couple of stragglers immediately start reaching through and they slam the door shut and there's arms on the floor.
But Susie is so happy that her friend Sarah let her in that she collapses on the floor and is hugging her and says, "Thank you so much." But Sarah's dad says, "What's going on out there? You can't come in here. You could be contaminated. You need to be in another room. That I'm not risking my family just for you." And Susie is like, "But I mean, my parents are gone. You're all I have left. I need your help, please."
So the man agrees that Susie can stay. However, she is confined to their basement. Sarah can visit her every so often, but she must remain atop the stairs. She cannot go down into the basement in case Susie is infected. And out in the outside world, we can hear that there is a lot more moaning and groaning and guttural noises, and the infected people are zeroing in on this house, realizing that people have taken shelter inside.
And a couple days pass, and Susie's down there, and every so often, Sarah or her dad will bring her food and water, but it's absolutely miserable. And all she wants to do is get out, even if it means she's going to be with the zombies. And then one day she hears a crash and glass breaking and a bunch of very, very loud moaning. And she can hear Sarah screaming and she can hear Sarah's dad screaming. And she thinks, "Oh no, they found us and I'm still locked down here. What am I going to do?"
So she rushes up the stairs and she hesitates at the doorknob, trying to decide if she's going to save her best friend or if it's better to lie in wait. And because she thinks of what happened to her father and she relives her father's death for a moment. And that is enough for her to push her way through, pull out that door, and she actually finds it unlocked. When she opens it, Susie is standing on the other side, or Sarah is standing on the other side. She grabs her hand and she says, "We have to get out of here."
So she grips Sarah's hand, and somehow they make it through the back door while the rest of the zombies are devouring Sarah's dad. But, he wasn't a very good dad, so it was kind of okay. So they ran
Yeah.
out the back door, and the zombies were distracted, and they kept running, and they finally got to the zoo. And miraculously, the zombies only had a taste for human brains. So the zoo was absolutely deserted, and they managed to shimmy up the fence and jump inside.
So once they are inside, they're low, they're listening and they're being cautious going through and they see all these old statues of different animals and even the owner of the zookeeper. And for a moment they wonder what happened to him or if anyone else is here at the zoo, any old workers or employees or volunteers. And so they go through the offices and they don't find anybody. They go through like the maintenance closets and things like that, and inside a maintenance closet they find someone who has turned.
And they know the drill by now. take quick steps away. They slam the door, they slide a broom handle through it and make sure that he can't get out. And they hope that he's the only one there. But when they go back outside and take a closer look at some of the enclosures, they see that the moats around everything are full of bodies. And whether it's people who were tourists or it's some of the workers, they don't know. But at least these ones are staying dead.
So they decide that they have to use the time that they have to hide within the zoo, to hide within the dead. And so they're going through all the enclosures, trying to find one that is open, trying to find one that has enough of the bodies around it to kind of cover any of their movement or just their presence. And they're lying there, and then they think they hear the roar of a tiger.
And they look up, and the tiger is staring right at them. And it's coming closer, it's coming closer. And then the growl starts to turn into a moan that they know all too well. And they quickly realize that even though they thought animals couldn't get the virus, somehow it's mutated. And they're not just dealing with a tiger, they are dealing with a zombie tiger that is ready and raring to go for some fresh human brains since everybody else is already dead.
So they try to run or outrun the tiger, but the tiger is still pretty fast, even for being infected by the virus. Now, they know their way around the town, but again, they're pretty young, and so they still have to kind of break out of that looking for guidance role. So instead, they climb atop a ladder that goes to a roof of a building. Once they're up there, they see the world for what it really is and determine that it's up to them to start their new life.
So once they realize what's going on, they go back downstairs, barricade everything, and decide that this is going to be their new home for better or worse. At least they have each other, they're best friends, and if they stand on the lower level, they can even see their zombie parents waving at them. So even though it's not the perfect world, it's their world, and that just has to be enough.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. I feel like I was just going through every trope I could think of, and I was like, be more original, Haley.
No, I love that. As soon as you started, I was like, this has a flavor I can get behind. I like this.
Nice. Nice.
You
You
were
were
really
so
good
much.
at that too.
Oh my goodness, you had such good descriptions.
Oh, thank you. I mean, well, I've done like six of these at this point, so I hope I've gotten a little bit better, but yeah, that was really fun.
These are good exercises. I think I could get a little bit more seasoned with that, become a little better, but it was interesting.
It's kind of like a free association thing. I feel like if you ever have, I don't know, you're stuck on something and you do something like this where you just have to keep talking, eventually you get somewhere.
Yeah, because now I'm starting to like kind of picture like more like The Last of Us and kind of the girls like coming together and starting like their own camp. And so now it's like, it's coming together, it's becoming more refined. So that just goes to show how, ideas that start out pretty underdeveloped or full of cliches can become something pretty unique all on its own.
So true. And now we have to title this wonderful short story we've created. Any ideas?
Hmm.
You're good at titles on the spot, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay. This world of our own.
I like it. Writing it
On
down.
the on the cover, it would have the two girls standing atop a building with all the infected down below,
Oh, I
but they're
love it.
standing powerful.
I'm glad we let them live because I was debating during it. I was like, what do we do?
Yeah, me too. I'm like, she's in the basement now, so she's gone.
Yeah, I was like, should she be zombie food or should she escape?
Yes. I think the basement and the boards, I was immediately like Night of the Living Dead, and I was like, get away from Night of the Living Dead.
I was thinking Night of the Comet. Have you ever seen that one?
No, but now I'm gonna write it down.
Okay, that's another one. It's kind of like, what about Waxwork?
I haven't seen that either.
Okay, another couple of gems I found on Netflix. There's also Waxwork 2, Lost in Time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think these are from like the 70s or 80s, but
Oh,
I,
nice.
I think now that I know what kind of movies you like, I feel like you might like those.
Okay, cool. Awesome. I appreciate the recommendations. I was even trying to think of the Vincent Price movie. Oh, is it Last Man on Earth? That
That's a
that's kind of
great
like,
movie.
yeah. And I was trying to think of something like that where the endeavor became like really personal. Like, you had the survival, but it was also like trying to maintain like a semblance of the past or something, but that was
Yeah.
hard.
Totally. Well, I promised you a surprise. So I don't know about you, but this has made me very hungry. So I created a recipe based off of Take Your Turn, Teddy, just for you.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So if everybody listening, if you've read the book, this is not a spoiler, you know Teddy is a huge baseball fan, and he's also a huge ice cream fan. So I wanted to make kind of the best possible combination of those things. So I call it Teddy's Baseball Ice Cream Sundae.
That's amazing.
And what is this, Biggie? This is you can make your own vanilla ice cream if you have like a Ninja Creamy, which I recently became obsessed with, or you can just buy vanilla ice cream. And then you're going to make this awesome caramel out of dates and vanilla and milk. And then when you're ready to actually eat this thing, you grab a big bowl, scoop out your ice cream, pour on the caramel, and then you top it with the baseball stadium favorites, Cracker Jacks and peanuts. Got
That's
a little bit of everything.
amazing.
And I don't know about you, but it sounds like the perfect dessert to enjoy while reading Take Your Turn, Teddy.
Yes, I will endorse that recipe. Yeah, that is so creative. That's so cool. And
Thanks.
it's interesting how many people don't pick up on the baseball thing. So like or they when they review or something, I think they forget that detail. So it made me happy that you picked up on that because I am a huge baseball fan.
Well, when I make these recipes based on the books, I try and think like, okay, is there food in the book? Sometimes there is, sometimes there's not, and I have to get really creative. But I don't want to just go like the obvious route. So that one was a fun one because honestly, that's something I would really love to eat like right now.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder what would we make for this world of our own?
Mm,
Our zombie story. There
that's a
wasn't a
good.
lot of time for Ian.
There was really no time unless you were a zombie, and I don't think that's a recipe any of us want.
No, right.
Well, I will put this recipe in the show notes for those of us who need a sweet treat during a reading session.
Awesome.
And last but not least, where can people find you and keep up with you and your work?
So I am on Instagram and TikTok mostly, and you can find me at Haley Newlin _author. I also have a book coming out through Maddox Media, the film you are about to see. So check out their website and their social media pages as well for release date and pre order going live.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.